So I'll lead them in whenever you're ready. So you were just talking about after the big meeting at the
all right, then it was
Greystone.
decided that
Let me just ask you this. That was the beginning of the Pullman Civic Organization,
the
right
Pullman
there,
Civic
right?
Organization was reformed.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
it was formed.
Yes, it was formed.
Very good.
Well, supposedly there was some civic organization of sorts a long time ago, but it had fallen to relapse.
Okay.
It was brought back.
Okay.
It was brought back.
So the guys you mentioned, the prominent ones, Mario Crisaro.
Yes, all those people.
Nickerson,
Yes, yes.
those
All
were
those people
Harvey.
moved in on this, and this is where we went from that period of time on.
Right.
And the community then, well, we weren't going to be torn down.
They banded together.
And unfortunately, at that period of time, people were who liked their homes and what have you wanted to upgrade them.
Sure.
And that was the beginning of the picture windows and the facial alterations of the buildings.
Right.
Okay, that went on for a while.
That was before there was city, state, and national
yes.
landmarks.
Oh yes.
And the regulations
yes.
that covers.
At that time, when all that was going on, the streetcars were still going down Pullman,
yeah.
St. Lawrence.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So. From the Pullman Civic Organization, as I understand it, and I want you to talk for a minute about it, this is where the Beeman Committee got to start then, and then the Historic Pullman Foundation.
Well, as we started to have general meetings, then all these little other committees started to offshoot,
Right.
and the Beeman Committee was formed.
Right.
And the Beeman Committee was formed for the preservation and the restoration of this town.
Right. And Beeman Committee means named after?
Solomon Beeman, who was the architect who designed Pullman.
Very good. Right.
See?
Yeah. 26 years old, by the way, when Pullman plucked him out to become his famous architect. 26.
Okay.
So.
Yes. He was a very young man. Very. Okay.
So then,
but
yeah, go ahead.
During all this time, though, as all these years went by, and we're talking about now the 1940s and that.
Right.
There was a lot of spark in this neighborhood. Right over there was the barbershop.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that barbershop when they closed it and he moved in to the hotel. I remember the bar at the hotel.
Yeah.
I remember going there with my bike down the street, around the circle there, and go. But this street wasn't the way it is configured now.
No.
It was completely different. And bringing food to my uncle, who would stay on occasions in a room that is still in the hotel. I went up this. I remember Mr. Fisher, the man who owned a big, heavy-set man. Remember him? He died in the 1940s.
I understand he used to have big, high-stakes poker games in there. And,
all kinds of things went on in the hotel.
And
Yeah. If there were, you could rent the rooms by the hour at that time.
Well, we know about that.
That happened like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
Mr. Fisher was gone, and I remember I used to go into the dining room. The main dining room way up in the corner there, and there was this magnificent large oak table with this huge Napoleon-looking lamp. I remember that, and all the Morris chairs, and the people that were there. There were a lot of people that lived in that hotel.
Remember, at this time of day right now, they'd all be sitting out there on the veranda, right? They had all those big rocking chairs and other things.
Yep.
Now, do you recall Market Hall, what it was like then, and what was in there?
Market Hall, when we would go down the street, 112th Street there. Right. You went in, there were two big apothecary bottles. There was the pharmacy that was right as you went going from heading east on the building, and there was you could walk all the way through to the other side of the building.
Hmm.
And there were businesses at that time that were in business at that
There
time.
was a grocery.
There was a bar. There was a tavern in there.
Yeah.
There was a grocery store.
Cleaners.
I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, there was a shoe repair in there. But that is foggy because I'm now we're going back now to the early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the inside quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And as the years went by, the pharmacy, my uncle took sick, and the doctor prescribed some medication, and we came down on a Sunday. Oh my God! It probably was 1945 or 46. I was a little kid then.
Yeah.
To pick up the medication.
Oh, boy.
I remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you go to Pullman school then?
I went to Pullman school. I remember all. Miss Rosinski, Miss Rajo, Miss Miliff, Miss Wilkinson,
Wow.
Miss Schmidt, Miss Adamick, Miss Nicholson. I remember all of the teachers.
Boy,
I had them all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And most of the kids
And
in the
if
neighborhood.
they walked here today,
Yeah.
I would recognize them.
I'll bet you would.
Miss
yeah.
Rosinski, when she died, I was at her wake and funeral, and Miss Rosinski, I think, passed at 103 years of age.
Wow.
Not too long ago.
Now that brings up what I wanted to ask you about. You're 77, you lived here all your life. Who else do you know that's been here like about that long, that started here and is still here?
Well,
Are there many?
They're all passing away.
Yeah. So
Yes. Oh, the only one, Alicia Busoni.
okay.
All right, the year 1947, little boy. She was a friend of my mother's side of the family. They came from Iron Mountain, Michigan to Chicago.
Wow.
They came to the house, and I met this woman and my mother's cousin, and for that period of time, they came for a visit. Okay, when they left, that was it. When the senior citizens were in service here in Pullman,
Yeah.
and I went to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I walked into the center,
Right.
and this woman was sitting at the table. She was in her 90s then.
Yeah.
She looked at me and she says, "I know you." And I said, "Yeah, I know you too." You knew Gemma Pericolosi? She says, "Yes."
Was that your mother,
That
Gemma?
was my mother's.
Oh.
My mother's maiden name was Pericolosi.
Yeah.
Gemma Pericolosi. Yes. She remembered.
Wow.
I remembered her. She was a mean lady. A very mean lady.
We were there
But
for her
she-
100th birthday party. Remember?
She told me, she said, in her broken English, and because she never learned English perfectly,
Yeah.
she says, "Well, I'm 97 now. I'm going to die soon."
Yeah.
I think that was in October. We were at her 103rd birthday, and she's now moved from
South Holland, isn't she?
Forestville, and she's with her daughter in South Holland.
Right. And you used to sneak her little vino.
Yes.
And she liked to have that
She
vino.
liked her wine, and
Yeah.
she liked her Italian food. And when she was in her 100,
Yeah.
past 100,
Wow.
she was still making gnocchi at home.
Oh, boy.
And picking those pots of water up with all.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
well,
So, up
but
and
she's
down-
still living. She's
Up and
still
down
living.
these blocks, anybody else that goes back that far?
Well,
Hard to say, huh?
then we got the Fattori brothers,
Oh, yeah.
and before the Fattori brothers,